Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Do you want to read the Mangalacharan prayers?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादां सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपिश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Oh, Hari Bol, you're still reading this book.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Let's see if... Yeah, now we start this new chapter. Chapter 3. Scholasticism. Scholasticism. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither.
Oh, these are all the church guys, or like Christians.
Yeah, that must be interesting.
The first one is this fellow, Thomas Aquinas. Hayek Das. Thomas Aquinas compiled the entire church doctrine in Summa Theologiae, which constitutes the official philosophy of the Roman Catholic Church. Aquinas did not make Augustine's sharp distinction between the material and spiritual worlds, or between secular society and the city of God. For him, both material and spiritual creations have their origin in God. At the same time, he admits that the spiritual world is superior to the material. Srila Prabhupada. When we speak of material world, we refer to that which is temporary. Some philosophers, like the Mayavadis, claim that the material world is false, but we Vaishnavas prefer to say that it is temporary or illusory. It is a reflection of the spiritual world, but in itself it has no reality. We therefore sometimes compare the material world to a mirage in the desert. In the material world, there is no happiness, but the transcendental bliss and happiness existing in the spiritual world are reflected here. Unintelligent people chase after this illusory happiness, forgetting the real happiness that is in the spiritual life. Hayek Das. Aquinas agreed with both the statements of Anselm and Abelard. I believe in order that I may understand, and I understand in order that I may believe. Thus reason and revelation complement one another as a means to truth. Prabhupada. Since human reason is not perfect, revelation is also needed. The truth is attained through logic, philosophy, and revelation. According to the Vaishnava tradition, we arrive at the truth through the Guru, the spiritual master, who is accepted as the representative of the absolute truth, the person of Godhead. He transmits the message of the truth because he has seen the absolute truth through the disciplic succession. If we accept the bona fide spiritual master and please him by submissive service, by virtue of his mercy and pleasure, we can understand God and the spiritual world by revelation. We therefore offer our respects to the spiritual master in the prayer, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasada nagatih kutopi Dhyayan stuvam stasya yasya stri sandhyam vande guru sri charanaravindam. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master, offering respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet at least 3 times a day. Purvashtakam, verse number 8. We can understand God if we please the spiritual master who carries the Lord's message without speculation. It is stated, Sevan mukhe hi jihvado svayam evas purat yada Padma Purana. When we engage our senses in the Lord's service, the Lord is revealed. Agreed thus. For Aquinas, God is the only single essence that consists of pure form. He felt that matter is only a potential, and in order to be real, must assume a certain shape or form. In other words, the living entity has to acquire an individual form in order to actualize himself. When matter unites with form, the form gives individuality and personality. Prabhupada. Matter in itself has no form. It is the spirit soul that has form. Matter is covering for the actual form of the spirit soul. Because the soul has form, matter appears to have form. Matter is like cloth that is cut to fit the body. In the spiritual world, however, everything has form. God and the spiritual soul. God and the spirit soul. Hagrid Aquinas believed that only God and the angels have non-material form. There is no difference between God's form and God's spiritual self. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Do you want to read the next pages?
Sure, Prabhu, yeah.
Here
Thank
you
you. Srila Prabhupada. Both the individual souls and God have form. That is real form. Material form is but a covering for the spiritual body. Haigrave does. Aquinas set forth 5 basic arguments for God's existence. First, God necessarily exists as the first cause. Second, the material world cannot create itself but needs something external or spiritual to create it. Third, because the world exists, there must be a creator. Fourth, since there's relative perfection in the world, there must be absolute perfection underlying it. And fifth, since the creation has design and purpose, there must be a designer who planned it. It's really nice points.
Yes, Prabhu.
Sounds like a really very reasonable points. I mean,
yeah,
any intelligent man can put forward such points.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, that's true.
Srila Prabhupada. We also honor these arguments. Also, without a father and mother, children cannot be brought into existence. Modern philosophers do not consider this strongest argument. According to Brahma Samhita, everything has a cause, and God is the ultimate cause. Ishvara Paramah Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Anadirajar Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. Haigrave does. He also states that the relative perfection we find here necessitates an absolute perfection. Srila Prabhupada, yes, the spiritual world is absolute perfection, and this temporary material world is but a reflection of that spiritual world. Whatever perfection we find in this material world is derived from the spiritual world. Janmadhyasya yataha. According to the Vedanta Sutra, whatever is generated comes from the absolute truth. Haigrava does. Today, some scientists even admit Aquinas' argument that since nothing can create itself in this material world, something external or spiritual is required for initial creation. I think Richard Dawkins is the only one who doesn't agree with that.
Yes, bro. Yeah, there's not many.
Srila Prabhupada. Yes, a mountain cannot create anything, but a human being can give form to a stone. A mountain may be very large, but it remains a stone incapable of giving shape to anything. Hegriff does. Unlike Plato and Aristotle, Aquinas maintained that God created the universe out of nothing. Srila Prabhupada. Oh, Krishna, what is it? Aquinas maintained that God created the universe out of nothing. But previously he stated that nothing can come from nothing. I mean, nothing cannot come from nothing. Okay.
Yes, bro.
Uh, Srila Prabhupada, no, the universe is created. Oh, okay, I'm getting the point. No, the universe is created by God, certainly, but God and his energies are always there. You cannot logically say that the universe was created out of nothing. Mhm. Begriff does. Aquinas would contend that since the material universe could not have arisen out of God's spiritual nature, it had to be created out of nothing. Okay. Srila Prabhupada, material nature is also an energy of God's. As Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhumir apo nalo vayu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara itiyam me bhinna prakritirashtadham. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these eight comprise my separate material energies. All of these emanate from God, and therefore they are not unreal. They are considered inferior because they are God's separated material energies. The sound that comes from a tape recorder may sound exactly like the original person's voice. The sound is not the person's voice itself, but it has come from the person. That's a very good point. If one cannot see where the sound is coming from, one may suppose that the person is actually speaking, although the person may be far away. Similarly, the material world is an expansion of the Supreme Lord's energy, and we should not think that it has been brought into existence out of nothing. It has emanated from the Supreme Truth, but it is the inferior separated energy. The superior energy is found in the spiritual world, which is the world of reality. In any case, we cannot agree that the material world has come from nothing. Hegriff does. Well, Aquinas would say that it was created by God out of nothing. Srila Prabhupada, you cannot say that. You
Yes.
cannot. Yes, bro. Okay. Srila Prabhupada, you cannot say that God's energy is nothing. His energy is exhibited and is eternally existing within. God God's energy must be there. If God's sorry, if God doesn't have energy, how can he be God? न तस्य कार्यं करणं च विद्यते न तत्समश्चाभ्यधिकश्च दृश्यते परस्य शक्तिर्विविधैव श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलाक्रिया च. He does not he does not possess bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any any one any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. Yeah,
Hmm.
very, very often
Is this
quoted.
verse?
Shrutashvara Upanishad. It's very often, especially the first two lines, Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruti, that God has multiple energies which can act by their own. I mean, so very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. What is
Which
this?
part of it?
Therefore, um, yeah, um, I think there must be another explanation of this verse. I mean, the point. What is this? Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, Parasya Shaktir. I mean, are you looking for the full text?
It's in Madhya 1365. There is one reference to this.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no,
He
here,
usually quotes these first two lines. I mean the last.
here is the
two.
full one. I was looking at
Yeah.
the full one is
Mm.
there in.
Yeah, I believe. Let me quickly. Um, I'm trying to find Shvetashvatara. Oh, I found the full text. You do you have this PDF document with most quoted verses by Srila Prabhupada?
Yes,
Because it is there. It is there. So,
I'm
yeah,
not
I mean,
about it.
yeah, the translation a little bit different, but it's okay. The point is that all these energies can act on their own without Krishna's supervision.
Yes, Prabhu.
Just like, I mean, the police punishes all these rascals. It doesn't mean that um, the president is in charge of all police departments
Yeah.
and do all this job. I mean, they can act on their own, but under his supervision. So similarly, all these energies can create and destroy and everything.
Yes, Prabhu. This is really nice and straightforward.
Yeah, I think he's explaining further. God, okay, God has multi energies, and the material energy is but one. Since God is everything, you cannot say that the material universe comes from nothing. Okay, Prabhu, you can continue.
Dibo. Thank you, Prabhu. Like Augustine, Aquinas believed that sin and man are concomitant. Due to Adam's original sin, all men require salvation, which can be obtained only through God's grace. But the individual has to assent by his free will for God's grace to function. In the previous chapter, also Prabhupada answered this Adam, that Adam made original sin. He answered, but I forgot what the answer is. It was a really nice answer, but I forgot it.
Yeah, I don't know what I would say if I was asked by somebody about this original sin. I mean, I can explain this original sin from Vaishnava perspective, but according to Bible, I don't know how to explain this.
Yes, Prabhu.
because it because they say that the Adam and Eve were the first human beings created by God. They committed a sin, and therefore all this reaction, chain of reaction took place, started.
See, Prabhupada answered like this. He said, sometimes father's disease is inherited by the son. He said like this, that if Adam
Sometimes.
is the father of all the humans, then he got some disease. Now sometimes it happens that the son is also inheriting the disease. So he explained, he didn't go against that. He explained it like this. But this person, this Augustine, he was trying to say that he, he was calling the body as a gift. And it he didn't say it's a punishment. Then some Prabhupada said that why it's a gift and why it's not a punishment.
As well, sometimes fathers. Is this not a form of punishment? At the same time, we should think that if God has given us this body for our punishment, it is His mercy, because.
Yes, Prabhu. So
I mean,
even if the sin, like the punishment of us, is the reason of this Adam, still we need to act properly. It's not it doesn't give, like,
It
still we
it
have to
doesn't.
cure the disease.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. Either you agree with Bible perspective or Vaishnava
Yeah,
perspective. We have to admit that now we are in a disease condition and we have to rectify
yeah,
ourselves. So yeah, we can
yeah. We may become
debate
purified.
like this. Yeah, we
Yes,
can debate like this. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. But we need to convince them that just like this, he agreed. He previously he agreed that yes, human body is a form of a punishment.
yes, Prabhu.
So otherwise, because I remember sometimes a few years back, I argued with my mother, and she told that no, but I'm happy, I'm not suffering like this. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes some disease took place, but it's okay. It's the way of life. I mean, this is how life works and goes and all
yes,
this.
Prabhu.
Yeah, they think it is okay. I mean, it is all included in this
Yeah,
life. Yeah,
actually, it's not the w- like if something is gonna happen or not gonna happen, some disease, or it's more about when it's gonna happen, because then it's gonna happen to everyone. So people think usually that if I'm if I'm gonna get some disease or not gonna get some disease. It's not really like
mm,
that. It's more when I'm gonna get it. Either you're gonna get it at 60 or some get it at 80 years, but
yeah,
more about when one is gonna get
mm,
it. So when one
yeah.
thinks that, oh, I'm getting gonna be diseased and all this, then how he can be happy? Because if he has been diseased one time, then he will always remember how horrible it is. And no one dies in like healthy condition. Everyone usually has to suffer a little bit before they go. So it's all suffering. So it's horrible. I don't know how they can lie to themselves so much that
But
it's
they may say, but this is happened. I mean, this happens very rarely. So, uh, and the rest of the time, I'm very happy. I mean, without all these diseases. So, and they may say this point of yours is not very solid because I mean, 99% of my time I'm happy, and yes, sometimes I once in a year I catch a cold and something like that.
yes, Prabhu. Yes, I would say that you scroll too much TikTok. You scroll, you don't see what's happening around you. Because
Yeah.
if anyone listens to what his relatives is doing, usually there is so much disease. Because when I've realized all the time I hear someone, oh, I read someone has got some cancer or something, and it feels like it has gotten much more common now. All the time I read, oh, some like horrible stories that, oh, this my someone died, he was really young, and I'm thinking like it's like normal. It's like everyone gets one number, 1 to 100, and they draw one number, and it's like, okay, you die at 55, you die at 45.
Yeah.
Like all
Like
random. Any number
like
can.
yes, Prabhu. Like recently, I believe on March 25th, I mean a month ago. Have you heard of this accident? I mean terror
Yes, Prabhu.
attack that
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I saw it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and when I was at work, a colleague of mine, he told the story that uh, one of the soldiers, he went to the Ukraine. To fight and all this. So he came back. Successfully he came back, and just imagine. He was there on the battlefield, and he survived, and he managed to come back, and then he went with his family to this Crocus City Hall, and he died
Mm,
because that those terrorists killed him. Just imagine what a coincidence.
yeah,
You
that's
were on the
great.
battlefield and you survived, and you went to a so-called peaceful place and you died. How can somebody explain this? They will say, "Oh, this is unfair. How could this happen?" I mean, how could God,
That's
what
true.
allow this and all this?
Yeah. Yeah, he never he never guessed it.
Yeah.
Going to war and you don't die, you survive anything. Then you yeah, this is hard to like
I
understand.
mean, because those situations are diametrically opposite. I mean, I mean, he died in such a peaceful place. I mean, no one couldn't predict that.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, sometimes some people when they're saved, they might think about death and they might think that if I go there, how could I die? That's so safe. How could
Yeah,
I die? I'm just gonna be
like
there. I'm just gonna be. How
like
could I die?
yeah, I remember recently, maybe a few months back, somebody shared. Maybe that was me who shared this video of Nimai Prabhu debating with Neil deGrasse, uh, and this Neil deGrasse gave that argument when some people went to a church and they
Yeah,
prayed, and then something happened and they died. And why this happened? Because they were praying. I mean, how is this?
yeah.
So they cannot explain. Like even baby, I think maybe one baby even died.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, someone asked this also in the group.
Yeah, yeah. I
Some,
mean,
yeah,
sometimes I'm preaching in my head and I'm imagine my conversation with my parents and what would I say if they asked me this or that. And sometimes all these tricky questions are coming to my mind. Like, I mean, and I understand, and I realize that all these tricky questions can be answered from Vaishnava perspective, like these tricky ones. I mean, why all these
yes, Prabhu. Yeah,
bad things occurred, yeah, with good people? Why bad people, I mean, they live a happy life, whereas a very pious people, I mean,
yeah,
they suffer like anything. What is the I
yeah. It's
mean,
interesting, see, because some people are so they are so sure about they are so sure that they are right about that they have found the perfect argument. They they are so sure about the argument that if there can be cancer there, how could God create this? This proves that God is horrible. Yeah, this is their
yeah,
they really believe in this argument that this is foolproof argument. But as someone who has heard about Krishna conscious philosophy, when you see those persons, you think that oh, you're you're so
yeah.
wrong, but you're so convinced that you're right.
I mean, yeah, we can give this the following example with jail. Like for example, somebody suffers in the jail because sometimes I heard that those prisoners were what is the word when they beaten physically, tortured, when they're
Yes,
tortured
bro.
by those fellas who is supervising them. I mean, and he can think, I mean, why is this happening? I mean, what did I do? But
Yeah.
you yourself is responsible for this condition because you committed a crime and now you're in jail. So now you're suffering. But they can logically, I mean, see this chain of reaction. But when it comes to our life, I mean, normal life, they cannot understand because they don't believe in the previous lives, and then they say that there is nothing after that. All this.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. I think it all
First
comes
of all,
because if they have to accept that their previous life was affecting this life, then they would have to accept that this life is going to affect the next life, and that means
yeah,
they would gain a lot of responsibility, and they don't want that
yeah,
responsibility. They just want to gamble it, like whatever comes, that is perfect for me. So I just do something.
yeah.
It's like trying to make a few food, trying to cook a dish, and just I try
It's
whatever.
like
I just try try anything, and at the end, I don't even turn the stove on. I'm just mixing some spices and rice, and then I'm just gonna taste it at the end.
yeah, it's like for example, when somebody is playing video games, for example, GTA, I mean, even if you doing something, I mean, you kill somebody on the street, I mean, you will get this star. I mean, the police will be chasing you.
Yes,
But if you don't want any reaction, you just You just enter, you just type some cheat code. I mean, and you can do whatever they want. And they like this, and they're trying to cheat code their lives. I mean,
Yes, Prabhu.
by saying that there's no one. I mean, there's no any superior to me. I mean, there's no superior being.
Yeah.
So
And then they next say that there is already law that we are all following, and it's given by our government that just follow that law. And usually they say, what why you need some other law? Every country has its own law already. You do what the government says, then then you're not really breaking any law or doing something wrong. They usually start saying like this, that I'm already following all the laws, they say. Already good. I'm following laws. But yeah, then you say there is God's
yeah.
laws, and then they say, ah, no, we have these laws already.
Yeah, then you have to explain, I mean, why all this perfect, how this perfect system is arranged,
Yes,
and
bro.
how is everything so perfect. Like before this session, I was cleaning around the house, and I was listening to Srila Prabhupada's class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, where he gave the same example with government. He said, so the government, I mean, you have this the country laws, and the government who is gave those laws. And similarly, there must be, I mean, not there must be, there are the superior laws which is given by God. And if you do not, for example, if you do not follow the citizen laws, I mean, you're a bad citizen, I mean, you will go to jail. But if you follow them, you're a good citizen. So similarly, if you do not follow God's laws, you will be punished. And that is the definition of the sin. And
Yes, Prabhu.
on the contrary, if you follow those laws of God, I mean, that means you're a pious person. So very simply, but they may say, there are no laws of God.
Yeah. And even if they accept that, they say that, okay, everything that you now say that I accept it, but then if they accepted it, it would be impossible for them, because all their what they do in their life and all their actions, they are against that, what you're explaining to them. And if they accept, okay, Krishna is everything, I have to do this, and then that means that tomorrow, the next day, they would have to change everything that they are doing. So they don't
But
want to do that.
they,
They
mm,
they would have to accept to themselves that I'm doing something wrong, and they don't want to accept to themselves that I'm doing something wrong, because there is no
mm,
humility. They are saying that's
yeah,
not doing much wrong. So
yeah,
I,
then don't complain about your sufferings and all this stuff. I
yeah,
mean,
yes, bro.
yeah.
Haribo. We're here, I think. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादीना भावेद ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियाय सेवोन्मुखे जिह्वादौ स्वयं एव स्फुरत् यदा. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue and to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Padma Purana. Bhakti is our eternal engagement, and when we engage in our eternal activities, we attain salvation or liberation. When we engage in false activities, we are in illusion, maya. Mukti, liberation, means remaining in our constitutional position. In the material world, we engage in many different activities, but they all refer to the material body. In the spiritual world, the spirit engages in the Lord's service, and this is liberation or salvation. Agriv Das. Aquinas considered sins to be both venial and mortal. A venial sin is one that can be pardoned, but a mortal sin cannot. A mortal sin stains the soul. Prabhupada. When a living entity disobeys the orders of God, he is put into this material world, and that is his punishment. He either rectifies himself by good association or undergoes transmigration. By taking on one body after another, he is subject to the tribulations of material existence. The soul is not stained, but He can participate in sinful activity. Although you cannot mix oil and water, oil floating on water is carried away by water. As soon as we are in contact with the material nature, we come under the clutches of the material world. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartat kartaham iti manyate. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Bhagavatam 3:27. As soon as the living entity enters the material world, he loses his own power. He is completely under the clutches of material nature. Oil never mixes with water, but it may be carried away by the waves. Hagrid does. Aquinas felt that the monastic vows of poverty, celibacy, and obedience give a direct path to God, but he did not think that these austerities were meant for the masses of man. He looked on life as a pilgrimage through the world of the senses to the spiritual world of God, from imperfection to perfection, and the monastic vows are meant to help us on this path. Prabhupada. Yes, according to Vedic instructions, we must take to the path of tapasya, voluntary self-denial. Tapasya brahmacharyena. Tapasya or austerity begins with the brahmacharya, celibacy. We must first learn to control the sex urge. That is the beginning of tapasya. We must control the senses and the mind, then we should give everything that we have to the Lord's service. By following in the path of truth and remaining clean, we can practice yoga. In this way, it is possible to advance toward the spiritual kingdom. All of this can be realized, however, by engaging in devotional service. If we become devotees of Krishna, we automatically attain the benefits of austerities without having to make a separate effort. By one stroke devotional service, we can acquire the benefits of all other processes. Hagrid does. Aquinas did not believe in a soul per se as being diverse from a particular form. God did not create a soul capable of inhabiting any body or form. Rather, he created an angelic soul, a human soul, an animal soul, or a plant soul. So many different souls. Here again, we find the conceptions of the soul's creation. Prabhupada. The soul is not created, but it is eternally existing along with God. The soul has the independence to turn from God, in which case he comes like a spark falling from a great fire. When the spark is separated, it loses its illumination. In any case, the individual soul is always there. The master and his servants are there eternally. We cannot say that the parts of a body are separately created. As soon as the body is present, all the parts are there with it. So Aquinas says that the soul and God is created separately. But here Prabhupada says that the body and body parts are created at the same time. So, nice argument.
Yeah.
We cannot say that the parts of a body are separately created. As soon as the body is present, all the parts are there with it. The soul is never created and it never dies. This is confirmed in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Na jayate mriyate vakadachin nayam bhutva bhavida vana bhuyaha ayo nitya sasvato yam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is never birth nor dead, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Bhagavad Gita 2:20. It may appear that the soul comes into existence and dies, but this is because he has accepted the material body. When the material body dies, the soul transfers to another body. When the soul is liberated, he doesn't have to accept another material body. He can return home back to Godhead in his original spiritual body. The soul was never created, but is always existing with God. If we say that the soul was created, the question may be raised whether or not God, the Supreme Soul, was also created. Of course, this is not the case. God is eternal, and his parts and parcels are also eternal. The difference is that God never accepts a material body, whereas the individual soul, being but a small particle, sometimes succumbs to the material energy. Oh, it's many pages. Okay, Haribol Prabhu, you can continue. Let's read a few more pages.
Okay, Prabhu, thank you. Harigriva. Is this soul externally existing with God in a spiritual form? Srila Prabhupada, yes. Harigriva. So the soul has a form that is incorruptible. Is this not also the form of the material body? Srila Prabhupada, the material body is an imitation. It is false. Because the spiritual body has form. The material body, which is a coating, takes on form. As I have already explained, a cloth originally has no form, but a tailor can cut the cloth to fit a form. In actuality, this material form is illusory. It originally has no form. It takes on form for a while, and when it becomes old and useless, it returns to its original position. In Bhagavad Gita 18:16, the body is compared to a machine. The soul has the soul has his own form, but he is given a machine, the body which he uses to wander throughout the universe, attempting to enjoy himself. Hegriva. I think that part of the problem is that Augustine and Aquinas could not conceive of a spiritual form. When they speak of form, they think that matter must necessarily be involved. Aquinas followed the Augustinian and Platonic doctrines, maintaining that if the soul is independent from matter, man loses his basic unity. He saw man as both body and soul. A man is a particular type of soul in a specific body. A man is a particular type of. Okay. Srila Prabhupada, when you are dressed, it appears that you are not different from your clothes. Your clothes move just as you do, but you are completely different. Hagriva. Aquinas did not believe that the living entity has pure spiritual form as such. Matter is necessary to give the soul form. Srila Prabhupada, no. He has his original form. Hagriva. Is this the form of the body? Srila Prabhupada, it is it is the form of the spirit. The body takes on form because the spirit has form. Matter has no form, but it codes the spiritual form of the soul and thus takes on form. Haigriva. Aquinas considered sex to be meant exclusively for the begetting of children, and the parents are responsible for giving their children a spiritual education. Srila Prabhupada, that is, wow. So he came to the same conclusion. Okay. Srila Prabhupada, there is also the Vedic injunction. You should not beget children unless you can liberate them from the cycle of birth and death. Gurur na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, devam na tatsyan, na patishcha sasyan, namo chetyaha samapeta mrityum. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. I agree. Aquinas argued that sex for reasons other than propagation is repugnant. What is it? Repugnant to the good of nature, which is the conservation of the species. Considering today's overpopulation, does this argument still hold? Srila Prabhupada, the conservation of the species doesn't enter into it. Illicit sex is sinful because it is for sense gratification instead of the begetting of children. Sense gratification in any form is sinful. Hegriva. Concerning the state, Aquinas believed, like Plato, in an enlightened monarchy, but in certain cases he felt that it is not necessary for man to obey human laws if these laws are opposed to human welfare and are instruments of violence. Srila Prabhupada, yes. But first of all, we must know what our welfare is. Unfortunately, as materialistic education advances, we are missing the aim of life. Life's aim is declared openly in the Vedanta Sutra. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Life is meant for understanding the absolute truth. Vedic civilization is based on this principle, but modern civilization has deviated and is devoting itself to that which cannot possibly relieve us from the tribulation of birth, old age, disease, and death. So called scientific advancement has not solved life's real problems. Although we're eternal, we're presently subjected to birth and death. In this age of Kali Yuga, people are slow to learn about self realization. People create their own way of life and they're unfortunate and disturbed. Hayagriva. Aquinas concludes that if the laws of God and man conflict, we should obey the laws of God. Srila Prabhupada, yes. We can also obey the man who obeys the laws of God. Just like, uh, in other words, the spiritual master or his bona fide
Yes.
representative. It is useless to obey an imperfect person. That is the blind following the blind. If the leader does not follow the instructions of the supreme controller, he is necessarily blind and he cannot lead. Why should we risk our lives by following blind men who believe that they are knowledgeable but are not? We should instead decide to take lessons from the supreme person, Krishna, who knows everything perfectly. Krishna knows past, present, and future and what is for our benefit. Yeah, maybe we can
Yes,
stop here. Yeah.
Yeah, if this was a little bit longer, it could be a nice short material. This not blind. Following blind leader. Yeah, this.
Yes, bro.
Okay, well, let's read six Astakam prayers. Thank you, Prabhu, for reading. Today is interesting day because no one joined. Usually there is.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yes, Prabhu, I'm thinking what happened. There's also 16 people online.
At first, I thought maybe today Saturday or Sunday, but turned out it's Thursday.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why is no one here.
Usually, at least there is Vivek Prabhu or Varun Prabhu or Pranjal Prabhu is always there. Suddenly, no one is there, so it was really interesting.
Yes.
चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयः कैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावादुजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्
नाम्नामकारि बहुधानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रार्पितानि यमितः स्मरणेन कालः एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशमिहा जनिनानुरागः
ऋणादपि सुनीचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिना मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि
न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि
हैनन्दतनुजा किङ्करं पतिता मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजास्तिदधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय
नयनं गलदशुद्धारय वदनं गद्गदारुथया गिरा पुलकैर्निजितं वपुः कदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति
युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्राविश्य इतं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे
आश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनष्टु मम दर्शनं मर्महदं करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पतो मत्प्राणनथास्तु स एव नापरहम्
Tribu. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names, like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energy. There are not even hard and fast rules for changing these names. O my Lord, Out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth.
O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name?
O Govinda, feeling your separations, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipable Lord unconditionally. Haribo.
Haribo, Shri Siksastakam Kija.
Jai.
Okay, do 10 offenses to the holy name. First offense, to
Yeah,
blaspheme.
can we do by the memory? Try to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember actually.
I remember in my mother tongue, but I will see if I can translate this into English. Because usually before chanting, I recite them in Russian, but okay, anyway, we can try.
Yeah, usually I've just read them in the reading session, so sometimes I remember them, then I forgot.
Yeah, it's not necessary to me, I mean, exactly
Yes,
to
bro. Yeah,
follow
these
each
are
word.
yeah, these are
The
nice.
main point, yeah.
Yes, bro. I think first one is it's related to the blaspheming the scriptures and the
It is the fourth one. The first one about criticizing devotees who,
yeah, who are
uh,
preaching. Yeah.
yeah, who devoted themselves to propagating this Krishna
Yeah, yeah,
consciousness.
yeah. Yes,
The
bro.
second one is about the second one is considering demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva's
Yeah.
names to be equal or
Greater.
to the Lord of or greater than Narayana. Yeah.
To be equal or independent of the
Oh
name.
yeah, or independent. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Third one is to disobey the order of the spiritual master. It's short,
Yeah, and
but it's easy one to remember.
yeah, and in the Russian version, it is also said to disobey the orders of the spiritual master and consider him an ordinary human
Yeah,
being.
yeah, it should be here also. Manu Prabhu also
Yeah.
mentioned this.
So yeah,
Yeah, I should
the
find some
fourth
other
one.
slides that has the full, because yeah, here
Yes,
is
yeah. The fourth one is blaspheme Vedic scriptures or
scriptures
scriptures
in
that follow Vedic tradition, something like
yeah
that.
in Persians to the Vedic
In
version.
Persians, yeah, I don't know this word, Persians. Yeah, the next one.
Yeah, it's the imagination,
Yeah, consider
the
the
glorious.
glory of the holy name to be imaginative,
Yes, bro.
something.
Yeah, to consider the glorious.
Yeah,
Krishna.
okay. The sixth one, let me
I
remember.
don't remember
Mm,
actually. What is the sixth one?
uh, oh, to give your own interpretation to the holy name,
Yes,
I
bro.
believe.
Yeah, to give some
Some, yeah,
interpretations to the holy name of the Lord.
yeah,
Seven one is
is
oh
very
yeah, it's
is
like the most important one.
concerning sins, Prabhu.
Yeah, to commit sins on the strength of the holy name.
Yes, yeah. Uh, the eighth one, um, let me think. 1 second.
Yeah, this is weird because I read this every day.
Yeah. So yeah, you see, I mean, this is ridiculous.
What is this?
Okay. I'm still thinking. Interpretations. No. What is this? Any guesses? Oh, Krishna, how come I forgot this?
Yeah, my mind is completely empty. And
Yeah, what is this?
it is some.
Okay, 1 minute more. I'm still want to figure out.
Yeah, that's weird actually. What is?
Krishna controls my memory and he doesn't want me to remember or somehow. I remember the 9th and the 10th one, but this one,
Yes, Prabhu. I remember the 10th, but I don't remember maybe 9.
But this maybe.
Yeah. To consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious activities that are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities, karma.
Do you remember the next one?
No, Prabhu.
It's preaching the glories of the holy name to non-believers.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Usually 3, 7, and 9. Usually those I remember, but today I didn't remember.
The last one.
The last one is. I remember that it ends with. Usually after this we read that it is also an offense to chant without being attentive.
And it's chanting with not being attentive. It's like a conclusion, but
yeah.
The 10th one is about
maintaining material
that
even
do not have faith in the holy name, although knowing so many instructions. I mean, and still have these material attachments. Like you're reading so much and know that we should detach ourselves, but still have some attachment. And the last one,
chanting of the holy name and maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. And the conclusion is that the root cause is inattentive chanting, and anyone who wants to reach the supreme love of Godhead should be attentive to avoid those offenses.